Fake carrots. Fake fruit. Fake. Fake. Fake grapefruits. Fake. Liar! You liar!
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. I had, some turkey, some ham. That's right, not making people who don't like ham happy with that one. But I'll tell you, I just don't give a flying frog's fat butt what anyone else likes anymore. All I care about is our freedom, our rights, our country. That's what really matters. I hope that's what matters to you. We've got a great show tonight, and you guys are the star. It is Sunday Night Live, and it is a SHTF shit show for everybody. Now, for those who don't know, you can ask questions. We'll get them right down here. There's several ways to get your questions in here. Let's see. The best way, though, is yes, sir, the super chat button right up there. Ooman will collect those. Put your questions on the screen. The other ways are a little more stealth. We got PayPal, Venmo, and CashApp down below. So that's what I like to start the show off with. Kick it right down the middle. Pow. I want to start with Darcy T. And Darcy T tends to do a $50 donation through PayPal. And if there's a $50 or more donation, that does what? It buys a shot of 18-year Glenlivet. This bottle's almost gone. Almost gone. And when it's gone, folks, we crack open a brand new bottle of Glenfiddich 18-year. And that is right here, waiting to go. It is in the winds. Anyways, I want to start off with this shot. Get the old jaw muscles lubricated. Get the brain all limbered up. And a big Semper Fi. God bless. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And Semper Fi. Woo! Like mother's milk there. Darcy T says this. Good evening, John. What are your thoughts around next year's election? Do you think there will actually be one? Does it matter anymore since we know they can be manipulated by the globalists anyway? Well, Darcy T, who starts the show off excellent every week. Number one, I'm glad you nailed the problem as the globalists. That's right, folks. These globalists, World Economic Forum, Bilderberg types, these elite banker corporate scumbags that are billionaires and more. They think they can tell us what to do, and they're busy stealing everyone's money. You may not realize it, but every time you pay taxes, that money goes to pay them. Believe it or not, your taxes doesn't even cover the bill for the government all year. It goes to paying the interest to the banks. And the banks aren't American banks. Our Federal Reserve Bank is owned by foreign banking cartels. These rich elite people. So they're more than happy for Republicans or Democrats to overspend, to throw your money over to Ukraine, to throw it over to Israel, to throw it to Iran, to give it away to China. What do they care? Because you have to pay interest on every single dollar the government spends. They're happy. You bet it's the globalists. They win, right or left, Democrat or Republican, because they have the system in their control. Now, we've got a long way to go if we ever want that back. So they've been very careful for decades, for a century, not to piss us off too bad. But people are waking up. Indeed, they are waking up. The people have had enough. And it's happening country by country around the world. So in order to stop this revolution, what do the guys in charge need to do? Yeah, that's right. They need a war. They need false flag attacks. They need all of those things to occur. to keep us distracted, to keep us scared, to keep them in charge. Now, Darcy is not asking about banking and taking over the banking system and getting our money back. She's asking about just the next election. Well, the thoughts on the next election are pretty big around this town. Here in the Prepared Mind Studios, it matters a great deal. Next year's election. Everyone is saying, well, no, I take that back. The smart people are saying that this is going to be our last election. And that is if we actually get to have it. So the smart money says, well, if the Democrats win, that'll be the last election because they'll destroy everything. And if the Republican, Trump, wins, that'll be the last election because the Democrats will cause a civil war through a variety of, shall we say, domestic terror actions, similar to 2020, only far, far, far worse now that they have their terrorists right here in our country. These guys right here in America letting us know that it's their country now. Yeah. So, yeah, my thoughts around next year's election. The Democrats know that Joe Biden is going to lose. He cannot win. He cannot win. He is falling apart. He's a doddering idiot. I am shocked, frankly shocked, that he's made it this far without just falling apart. Other Democrat candidates are throwing rocks at him, saying, they can't win. So either they're going to have to rely completely on election fraud, which, hey, it worked great in 2020. It truly did. I don't know. Let's see. Ukraine has foregone elections because of, war. So for the next year, actually, we're down to about 11 and a half months. For the next 11 and a half months, while we wait for the election of 2024, you and I are going to witness dramatic stupidity, avarice, greed, hatred, anger, and hopefully a recovery of patriotism by good Americans. I do think there's going to be an election. I think that trying to stall the American election is dangerous, but it is possible. I think the Democrats are going to have to do something dramatic because Biden can't win, and there are no Democrat candidates who are worth a shit. I mean, they could try putting Kennedy in there, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not beloved by the Democrats. But he is, folks, by all measurements, one hell of an anti-American Democrat. You need to understand and listen. They'll say one thing one day and another thing the next. They'll say some things in private, but to the public, they'll act like they love America. Look at what the Democrats support. Is it any wonder they're worried about this election? They don't want the political candidate talking about abortion. They don't want the political candidate talking about the Second Amendment. They don't want the political candidate talking about the southern border or Ukraine or Israel or Syria or China or Taiwan. They don't want the presidential candidates talking at all because everything they talk about shows how weak the Democrats are. They don't want them talking about inflation. They don't want them talking about the military budget. They don't want them talking about the social budget. They don't want them talking about anything because everything the Democrats want is counterproductive. In fact, in England, their prime minister has said, hey, we're going to do tax cuts and we're going to clean up some problems with crime. And all of a sudden, he is more popular. And they're like, gee whiz, let's see. Do what's good for the country and the people like it. What a novel fucking idea, huh? Wow. All right. And don't expect them to actually do that for the right reasons. You see, that's the game they play with us. They like to tell us we're going to get you some tax cuts. And you see a small reduction in taxes in one form or fashion, from a Republican president. But then we get screwed on the next thing. It's just, it is an awful game. I've been in this game 53 years and I'm tired of it. Anyways, welcome to the show, folks. Thank you, Darcy T, for the great super chat donation, and for the great drink of scotch. Folks, give it a thumbs up. You are here. It is Sunday Night Live, and it is the SHTF shit show of the week. And here we go with number 2. Once again, we got Chin Music with a $55.56 super chat donation. That's a 5556. And there it is. I'm getting close to this bottle being tapped out. Oh, pulled that one a little too thick. I think we got about one left. And then we move on. So a couple more of these, and we'll be playing the song to Glenn Fiddick. Anyway, Semper Fi, Chin Music. And let's see what he has to say. And he always has something to say. And he said, hope you had a good holiday, brothers and sisters. Nothing to share. I need a break. Circuits are getting a little hot lately. Just a public service announcement. For you transplants to Texas, it's not wise to put those stupid reindeer horns on your car and drive around during hunting season. That's a good one, man. Yeah, they'll shoot anything in Texas. Anyways, yeah, I think this is a great time of year. It used to be the Christmas season. You know, the holiday season, we kind of get warmed up with Halloween, and then roll into Thanksgiving, and then, of course, Christmas. Very Christian, very North America, very American altogether. Last Christmas, we were inundated with Black Santa, and, prior to Trump, they had just about gotten away with getting rid of Christmas in the White House. I think 2 years ago, I went to a theme park, didn't have one sign that said anything about Christmas. Nothing with Santa. It was disgusting. They were trying to get rid of Christmas, folks. Now, I've talked to people like, Santa Claus lives at the North Pole. He's been around for 1,000 years, Père Noel, whatever. Of course, he's white. It's funny. I don't know. I guess maybe too many people have seen Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. It's this whole social crap. Why is it that I can't do anything that's brown or black or Asian or anything, but they can co-opt my holidays? They can co-opt my culture. Anywhere else on the world, they can co-opt ours. I remember a few years ago when, white women who wore Asian dresses, they were getting yelled at, and it was ridiculous. You're misappropriating someone's culture. Just fucking stupid. But here we are, folks. Not only are they misappropriating American culture, that would be the woke idiots. They're misappropriating American culture. They're destroying American culture. Thank you very much, Mr. Chin Music. Yeah, and speaking of circuits getting hot, we need to be very, very careful. It is going to get really, really stupid around here, folks. And I've got a little bit of news that I want to share with you guys when we get to the story for me this coming week. Crazy stuff. Well, let's start with this. I went ahead while waiting for some super chats. And again, if you have something you want to say, hit the super chat button, get your question right up here on the screen, and we'll talk about what you have to say. It's your show on Sunday nights. We'll be here approximately 2 hours, sometimes more, sometimes less, as long as you've got something to talk about. Now, over in Ireland, they had a little bit of an issue. Does everyone remember what that's all about? It was pretty important, I think. An Algerian person, or is it Albanian, or does it matter? An immigrant into Ireland decided he was going to go on a stabbing spree, trying to kill children. Well, the Irish people have had enough of that shit. And they started, well, first protesting and then rioting. Now, the cowardly Irish Parliament decided it was going to protect itself with fences and cops. They did that following the stabbing of, well, 5. And the guy was Algerian, an Algerian migrant. 5 people were stabbed by this idiot in a stabbing spree. Now, I want to know if the Irish Parliament is surrounded by security forces because they're cowards and afraid of the migrants, or are they afraid of the white Irish people? And recall, folks, Ireland, remember this always. Ireland has terrorism of its own. For decades, it had Protestants and Catholics fighting each other. You think a couple of migrants from another country is going to stop them from fighting? Anyways, the Irish Parliament has allowed this. These shall we say, ignorant migrants who do not want to assimilate into culture, learn the history, learn the laws of the country they come to. I don't know what they think because they don't seem to think at all. They just see a woman and say, hey, I guess I'll rape that. They see something of value and they say, hey, I'll steal that. And if they see someone they don't like, they say, hey, I'll murder that. It's fascinating to me that they go to someone else's house, someone else's country, and they just want to do what they want. They have no consideration at all for any other rule than that which is between their ears. Now, the MMA superstar, Conor McGregor, he's Irish, decided he was going to get pissed off. He may run, folks. In fact, a lot of people are saying, you need to run for parliament. You need to become the prime minister. Anyways, he came out and said, enough is enough. When is this going to stop? What's going to be done? Something needs to be done. And for having something to say, Conor McGregor is now under investigation for, quote, online hate speech because he used harsh language on Twitter X regarding the Irish children being stabbed by this immigrant in the city of Dublin, Ireland. Isn't that amazing, folks? Because he was demanding the government do something about hate crimes against Irish children, because government created the third world violence and rape problems in their own country. So what they want to do in Ireland is, instead of doing something about the problem they've created, they want to investigate the critic. And I want to say to Conor McGregor, welcome to our world. You are no longer the superstar who can say and do whatever he wants and do the big man walk, right? They'll come and arrest your ass. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because the Irish people are really pissed off. And as discussed the other day, the Irish are fighters. Fighters. They have their own terrorism where the Irish fight the Irish. I don't think it'll be hard to pick out the people who are not Irish in Ireland. I don't know what folks, I know what the solution is. I know how to fix the problem, and I know you do too. The question is, how do we get from where we're at, being flooded by illegal immigrants here in America, to getting them out of our fucking country and back to wherever the hell they came from, whether it's Mexico or some country south of there, whether it's back to North Africa or beyond that into the Arab region of the world, the Middle East. They need to leave. The Palestinians, folks, are a complete shit show of a people. They are so bad, even other Muslim countries will not have them, including Egypt and Jordan. Every Muslim wants to scream and yell about how they want the Palestinians to be free and yada, 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 yet nobody wants them in their country. And we've got some more on that as well. Anyways, what do you think is going to happen in Ireland? I find it fascinating. I want to see this get crazy in Ireland. Not in a violent way. And I hear you, Uman, not in a violent way, but in a political fashion to solve the problems. I think it's very simple. You give these people 2 months, the ones that are here legally, not the unlegal or illegals, but the legal ones, give them 2 months, pass a test on Americanism. And then they have 10 years of probation. You try and join in the anti-American protest, you're gone. You commit a felony, you're just deported. Done. You commit 2 misdemeanors, you're gone. Crazy stuff. Anyways, I've got my solutions. What's yours? But before we do that, we're at 350 plus people going live. That's good, folks. That's more than the President of the United States, more than dumbass Joe Biden gets live. We're here live right now. Hit the thumbs up. Get your super chat donation in with your question and comment, and let's get one on the screen. What do we got? Oh, man, who is up? We have Ron Stryker with a 556 super chat donation. And he says, is it too soon to be blackpilled regarding the upcoming elections, the war in Gaza, and the douchebaggery of the New World Order? The answer is no. Black-pilled, red-pilled, it's all good. It's all a matter of perspective, Ron. I think you understand this. When people first begin to wake up, it's a scary world out there, right? This pill thing comes from the Matrix. You take the blue pill and you go back to sleep. You're a sheep. You don't see any of this stuff. You don't want to know. Take the red pill and you wake up and you see the truth. Take the red pill, you can pull back the curtain and see what's really happening. Now, Ron is referring to the black pill. The black pill is kind of the red pill on steroids with pessimism, right? Because you just keep seeing us going the wrong way. No matter how long you've been red pilled, no matter how many people you help wake up, the government keeps doing the same thing. Now, 1 second, let me adjust. Okay, now, I prefer to stay in the red pill mode, but I'm honest about where it goes. We're coming in, we're going to land, we're going to keep landing, and we're not even close to being down yet, folks. We're not even close to landing this airplane in the shit it's the fan show. My thing is we can see where it's going because it's been heading this way. They want to destroy America, destroy our culture, destroy our traditions, destroy our law, destroy our Constitution. Now, the evidence is the truth, the facts. That's exactly what's happening based on what Congress is doing. You've got Joe Biden, who abandoned Afghanistan and $85 billion in equipment and has armed the Taliban and other Middle Eastern countries with that equipment that is now being used to fight wars against others. They've sent over $125 billion over to Ukraine with no accounting at all, period. No accounting. Joe Biden abandoned American citizens as well as the military who were killed in Afghanistan. He has let the southern border be open, and millions, folks, we're talking 5 million plus, illegals from around the world, including terrorists, have snuck into this country. And they lie to us constantly. The White House, his administration, Joe Biden. Joe Biden has accepted bribes from China, Ukraine, Russia. The Biden family has all of these things. They've got millions of dollars going to the Joe Biden crime cartel on paper, yet Congress will not impeach him. They're having an inquiry. Oh, really? An inquiry, huh? Yeah, so is that a black pill that I see that is we're not stopping this? This shit show is going to go all the way down. America is going to have to crash. We're going to have a very, very nasty economy, currency collapse, and also, folks, how do we put this? There's going to be a collapse of law and order. There's going to be a collapse of the energy supply system, fuel supply system, water supply system in much of the United States of America. Is that black-pilled, Ron? Or is that just being honest? Some people might say that's black-pilled. I just think it's being honest. But red pill is talking about today. Black is seeing the future, and the future is black. It is bleak. But it's where we're going, and I'm honest about us going there. Now, Trump, I would love it, folks, for Trump to be elected president, to turn this ship around, to throw out all the un-American congressmen, to expel the shit out of them, get rid of them all, right? Send all these scumbags back out of the country, drain the swamp. Back in 2016 to 2020, it almost seemed like that was a possibility. But we learned that it wasn't, and that it's not that easy, that they won't just go away. So maybe that's going to the black pill. I don't know. Anyways, Ron, great topic. Thank you so much. Folks, search for the truth. Understand it up here, but get prepared with what you need, because it is going to be a necessity. Not just, I would like that, but an actual necessity. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. It's going to get that nasty because people like this have been allowed in our country by the Democrats. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Uman, who wants to step up next? Pow, down here we got Luke Thompson with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, today at Rural King, absolutely 0 5.56 by 45 in stock. What is he saying? No ammunition available at his countrified rural store, his ammunition depot, his gun supply store. Why is that, Luke? Why is it? I remember, folks, back before I left for the RMZ, back when Obama was president, trying to get 5.56. And I wanted the penetrator tips. Hell, the 8.55s. You were lucky to get anything at all. Now, I wonder about this ammunition shortage that we seem to be seeing. Is it because so many people are going out and buying? Well, of course, I think that's a big part of it. But I also think there's an issue with manufacturing. Manufacturing. There was supposed to be a halt to the exportation of American ammunition. A halt of it. Have we heard anything from Joe Biden on that lately? Have we heard anything on Washington, D.C.? Where are we at with that? You see, that came up just a couple of weeks ago, and now we're seeing a shortage of ammunition. It's what they say and then what they do sometimes, throw us off. That's what they want to do. Anyways, Luke, get what you can. Folks, this is why I recommend having a very popular caliber. Because if things get nasty, you'll be able to get 5.56 from your neighbors. 12 gauge, 20 gauge. Be able to get 45, 9mm, 357. I love these crazy-ass Wildcatter rounds. They're cool. But make sure for your calibers you have enough. And how much is enough? That's one of the all-time great questions. How much is enough? Well, if I make it through the thousands of rounds I have in an SHTF scenario and I'm still alive, well, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of ammo left by those of us who have those calibers, and we've got our backs to one another facing the world. It could get ugly and stupid. I sure hope it doesn't get that bad. Anyways, Luke, thank you for the update on your ammunition issue. Appreciate that much. Mr. Uman, what do we want to do next? Who is up? And we are at 451 people live. And this is the first time I'm telling you, hit that up there. Get that internet address and share it. Doggone it, share it. And let's get and bust over 500. We haven't been there in a couple of weeks. That'll be a good thing to see. And we've got Mamat Mag. And this is a Christian anarch. Is that Christian anarchist? I can't read that. No king but Christ. Okay, here we go. He says, can we get another satirical discussion on precious metals? Gold, silver, and what about gold backs? Well, I really appreciate the super chat donation. Pow, you got something to say? Donate away. And that does, folks, it puts spam, tuna fish into the Prepared Mind storage zone. In fact, I had a 2 tuna fish can lunch the other day. I'm a big guy these days, and I like the tuna fish anyways. Let's do it. Let's talk, number one, about goldbacks, what I know about them. The goldback, I'm not a big fan of it. Not at this stage. I don't like the idea of these goldback things, paper notes, trading coupons. I don't like any of this. I don't like cryptocurrency still. It's because it's so confusing, because the government wants to do its central bank digital currency. I don't know where this is going. If you want absolute security, I really believe that having precious metals in your hand is the way to go. I really do. And once again, I keep this on and around me at all times. Right? I just do. I don't have a lot of silver or gold. In fact, about the most gold I got is right there in the tooth. But I do got just a little bit of silver, and it's important. If you've got any money and you've already got all of your other things, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, all taken care of, you're good. Now let's get a little deeper on it. I've been listening because I'm curious about the monetary system and how badly it's failing. How bad is the bond market, the T-bill market failing? They're raising interest rates. Why hasn't gold come down? So let's take gold and silver and kind of separate them. Gold is money. Money is gold. Besides the U.S. Bond market and U.S. bonds, gold is the only other tier 1 asset recognized by the global banking cartels. Gold is money. Right? Everything else is a promise to pay, maybe. So gold has not gone down. They've held silver down pretty good, but gold is hovering just below its all-time highs, regardless of what Chairman Powell does, regardless of how they say the interest rates are going up and inflation's going down and they've got everything under control and it's not a problem. Well, a couple of weeks ago, another bank failed, but that's okay. No worries. Gold is holding on because I think the smart money knows. Now, for one, smart money. The banks are well informed about what's happening, and central banks and nations around the world are buying gold, hand over fist still. According to the experts, they're draining the warehouses, the coffers, right? Places like the COMEX, the Brinks, the Loomises, right? Anywhere there's gold being stored is being bought and transported to those who want to hold it. Smart money, the wealthy, are also investing in private gold. There are several experts who say that starting now, because we're at near an all-time high, once gold goes to, I believe, 1,100, there's no stopping it. The system's broke. The system is broke with respect to gold. Now, quickly on silver. Silver is not only a monetary metal, it's an industrial metal, it's also a strategic metal, and it cannot be replaced by any other metal in the high-tech space, energy, and military weapons systems. It is the most useful element on the planet, has the most uses with the exception of one other element, that being oil. Oil is a complex molecule. Silver is an element. So it is the most useful, beneficial element on the planet, but is being held down. It is also being bought up. My recommendation is you go to sdbullion.com, go to the preparedmind.club, and go to sdbullion, and you should be able to get some sort of entry-level discount. That said, no matter where you go, make sure you pick a good company to work with. I've never had any trouble with SD Bullion. I've used also APMEX. And of course, Andy Scheckman's company. If you know any of these, right? But you can go and find them. Gold, silver. It's a frustrating subject. Some people thought they were going to buy it and get rich. Other people put their money there to protect it. I think that both things can happen. There's a lot of fear that Joe Biden and the federal government is going to confiscate it. Well, they're already confiscating our lives, our cash, our culture, our nation. So it wouldn't surprise me if they try something. But as far as gold backs goes, I'm just not a huge fan, not yet. The only reason is we don't have a stable system. We don't have a direction that the country's heading that says this is the way out of the trouble we're in, so we're going that way. We don't have that yet. So some things that are universally acceptable, gold and silver, and there's no question marks about them. Anyways, there we are. Even bonds and stocks, folks. Stocks are an entirely different game that's up. In other words, in my opinion, from my perspective, our economy is in enormously bad trouble. One more reason they want war. One more reason they want chaos. So the people in charge don't take the blame. All right. Interesting topic. I appreciate you bringing it up. I would talk about it more. More shows. I keep my eye on it very closely, but gold and silver is where you need to be to protect your wealth. That's just my opinion. It is not investment advice. All right, Mr. Uman, who wants to step up next? Who has something to say? And it is Bruce. As in, it looks like Bruce is in Juice Bruce with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, what is your thoughts on the new neo-Nazi blood drive in Michigan? Well, I tell you what, I'm not a big fan of these divisive groups. I think that, folks, a lot of what we're seeing out there, the evil and the bad things, it's a sign of the disease. Our country is sick. We've got foreign terrorists. We've got foreign invaders. We've got foreign countries that are all dividing up our nation. They're not just on the outside trying to combat us and get in. They're already in the country. And they're being supported by all sides that want to destroy this country. For example, we just like to discuss and use George Soros, his name, because he is not an American, in my opinion. He lives outside of America, yet he funds all manner of anti-American activity. So in order to have a big group, right, what have we learned? Well, there has to be a lot of money to support it. This Antifa business, this Black Lives Matter business, they got a lot of funding, didn't they? So if there's I like how you say, a new neo-Nazi, a neo meaning new, blood tribe in Michigan. Sadly and unfortunately, folks, some of this is going to be as the result or consequence of outside influence trying to get us to fight amongst ourselves. Another part of this is Americans are saying we've had enough of this. And we want this fixed. Now, for the past 30 years of my life, I've listened to and watched and seen a lot of these hate groups come up, a lot of these racist groups come up. Nazis are fascists, though. They're supposed to be, at least the ones in the 1940s were, meaning the corporations and government were working together. They were helping each other out. Fascism is a social, political, and economic, shall we say, system of governance and control, and that's what it is. Today's little neo-Nazi groups are people who either worship Hitler or believe in white supremacy, And so I'm completely suspicious at all times of any neo-Nazi group, because that is what the FBI has tried accusing us all of being. Whether you're talking about me, you, some patriot group, a militia. They even tried saying that the Proud Boys were white supremacists. They'll say that any group is white supremacist if it suits their purpose. And white supremacist is kind of a synonymous term that they trade back and forth with neo-Nazi. They want that Hitler-type thinking in there. They even call President Trump a neo-Nazi. They even call President Trump a regular Nazi. They call President Trump a white supremacist. The idea is to smear people. And so if they can create neo-Nazi groups, create so much hatred and division that they force people into these groups, right? You either be a Nazi in Michigan, or you support the immigrants and the anti-American scumbags. You see what this comes down to? It's really part of the SHTF violence circle that's out there. They want a circular amount of violence. They want to invite in these anti-Americans that run around and attack Americans, and Americans will attack them back, and then they attack Americans, and then everyone hates one another. They're waiting for this. This is our major violent purge, our Mad Max scenario. So when I start hearing about more Nazi groups coming out, whether they're down in Texas or up in Michigan, over in Ohio, in the Carolinas, in the Deep South, right? It just lets me know that people are getting pissed off. It also lets me know that the FBI are very active, because that's what they do. The FBI joins groups and pushes them in a direction until they commit violent acts, or at least have a conspiracy, a plan to commit violent acts, and then they bust them. We got some crazy times ahead of us. I hope you are prepared for it. Thank you very much, Bruce. Okay, Mr. Uman, I've got stuff I want to talk about, but it's always on Sunday. Super Chats first. We're well over 500 people live, and we got Green November with a $4.99 Super Chat. He said, just moved, and some of my cans and my preps got dented. Eat it now and replace then. Also, how long till food goes bad? Thanks, and God bless everyone. I'll tell you what. Look at the cans themselves. They'll have a best eaten by type date printed on them. My recommendation also is, if you have food storage, make sure you rotate it. I'm glad you got moved. I hope you moved to someplace safe, someplace good, because the craziness is coming. It is going to get worse. You need to find a place that's suitable. I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about. 3 Palestinian college students in America here were fatally shot in Vermont. Now, these 3 students, folks, were attending woke universities, Harvard, Brown University, and Trinity University. So these 3 guys, right? Why were they shot? Well, this gunman, without saying a word, just opened fire on them, started shooting him. And they're not calling it a hate attack. They're calling it a, quote, bias attack. I have no idea what a bias attack is. But the Arab American Anti-Discrimination Committee, known as the ADC, named the individuals involved. Right? This is incredible. The Arab American Anti-Discrimination Committee, the ADC. Is this the same committee that goes out and tells the pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, pro-Palestinian people, hey, stop discriminating against Americans. Stop discriminating against Jews. Stop discriminating against Israelis. Stop discriminating and hating America. Does the Arab American Anti-Discrimination Committee do anything at all? Right, yeah. The Palestinian terrorists are not discriminatory towards Jews, Americans, or anyone else. Now, according to the news person, quote, the suspect was on foot in the area when investigators say He discharged at least 4 rounds from his pistol without speaking. 2 of the victims were wearing keffiyehs at the time of the assault, according to Chief Murad. Now, I got to look at these guys. They did not look like this. No, they didn't. They did not look like that at all. These dudes were handsome, hip, cool Amero-Palestinians. They were probably shot for not supporting Hamas. Right? They're going to nice woke universities, but they didn't look, they look like nice dudes. They're like, hey, we're Palestinians. Right? To me, this looks like a terror assassination. I expect this type of shit to go on everywhere. These guys were up in fuck. I just, Vermont. What are these guys doing in Vermont? Well, they're up in Vermont and they get shot. Now, they didn't say it was a white Christian. They didn't say it was a white man. They didn't say he was wearing plaid and he had a big red beard. They didn't say anything like that. So who was it? Folks, I think the stupid is going to go off the hook. I really do. I really think that things are going to get really bad. Whether it's Nazis or Palestinian or Antifa or BLM, the shit is going to get stupid. These guys were probably killed by somebody that knew them and didn't like them. That's my guess. But are we going to see more of that? In fact, folks, most murders and murder attempts are done by people that are known, not by strangers. All right, let's see. Let's do some super chats. Mr. Uman, where are we going with it, man? We got Chin Music with a $19.99 super chat donation. He says, when the Fed opened a trading desk, the fix was him. Am I the only one who doesn't remember voting for Vomitous Mass Powell or Mushroom Head Yellen? With all her cash, you'd think she'd have a better haircut. All right, he's talking about, let's just start with a better haircut. Old Yeller, Janet Yellen. She is an academic egghead of an economist. She was appointed, was it by Obama? I think so, to replace Benjamin Shlomo Bernanke, and that is his name, as the federal chairman. No, the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board. These people, folks. And since then, she's made millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars doing speaking engagements as an academic egghead, former chief goon. Now she's head of the Treasury, the U.S. Treasury. She was the one, folks, Yellen, who promised that in our lifetimes we'd never have another economic issue. She does need a better haircut. I think that's the point. With her millions of dollars, I think she should get away from the pumpkin head bowl cut and go to something else. Now, Chief Goon Powell, right? He is the chief leader, chairman of the Federal Reserve. No one voted for him. In fact, he's appointed by the president. That's how that works. But yes, the Fed opened a trading desk. The fix is in. I believe the government is being supported by the Federal Reserve Bank, which is buying up U.S. notes. It is the one who is now buying everything, and we get to pay it back. We're borrowing from ourselves and paying interest to the banks once again. Yeah, we just don't get to vote for them, Chin Music, and they can do whatever they want to destroy this country. I mean, fund this country. But here's the question I have for you, Chin. As an American, as a prepper, do you want to continue down this road here, which is keep deficit spending, keep printing money, don't let the banks collapse, bail them out. We're going to do some bail-ins also, but we got to keep the game going. Or do we go this way? No more bullshit, no more deficit, balanced budget, cut taxes, and we're going to have nothing but enormous trouble because you cannot do that in this system, and it'll cause a crash. And we need that crash to correct prices on commodities, food, fuel, everything. Do we let the American economy, monetary system, and finance system crash? Those are our choices. Keep doing what we're doing and hope for different results, or do the right thing and straighten everything out. Put our money system on something solid, a gold-backed, commodity-backed currency, and make all other nations abide by that. By, not by putting a gun to their head, but rather by saying this is a system that is solid and works. We're going to find out. I really appreciate the great support, Chin Music. Thank you, sir. Let us move on if we shall. I wish we could vote for these people and get them in office, but, they're bureaucrats. They're appointed. We got Boomer21 with a Canadian $10 super chat donation. And he said, as excited as people are about the ceasefire, he's talking about the Gaza, Hamas, and Israeli ceasefire, they don't seem to realize that our friends are now hiding elsewhere and regrouping. So what has been going on over there in Gaza, in Palestine? Well, the Israelis were down in their tunnel systems using robots, dogs, computers, ground penetrating radar to find out where Hamas was, and they were going after them. So our friends, the Hamas terrorists over there in Gaza, they've got a ceasefire. They must be our friends. They've released hostages, women and children. That's who they're holding hostages, women and children. Now, if I, John, went out in public and kidnapped women and children and made demands that you're going to give me the southern quarter, the southern southeast corner of Mississippi, I'm holding you hostage, all these people, would the United States government treat me like I was a nation and negotiate with me as a terrorist? Well, that's what they're doing with these people. They are infiltrating and holding a portion of Palestine and the people there hostage. They use them as human shields, and then they go out and kidnap Israeli women and children and are holding them hostage. And they're releasing some now, so we're all good friends. I agree with you, Boomer. They're buying time. They're like, hey, we've got a ceasefire, and as a show of goodwill, we're going to let some women and children back out. It's a show of goodwill. Was it a show of goodwill when they invaded Israel and started murdering women, children? Was it a show of goodwill when they started murdering the elderly? Was it a show of goodwill when they drove down the streets with their machine guns blaring? Was it a show of goodwill when they killed children by beheading them and disemboweling pregnant women? Was it a show of goodwill when they kidnapped these women and began raping them? Was it a show of goodwill when they said that they want to exterminate all of Israel? Why should we believe anything the terrorists say when they have basically told us exactly who they are and what they want to do and how serious they are about it? They want to destroy Israel. They want to wipe them off the face of the earth. They want to kill all the Jews. They want the nation of Israel just absolutely destroyed, just wiped, gone, done. No Israel. All Palestine again. How can you have a ceasefire with that? How do you have ceasefire with someone who wants to murder you? You're like, okay, time out. Let's take a break. Let's take a couple of days off. We'll start killing each other in a few days. But for the time being, let's all get some rest. Let's enjoy the holiday season. We'll get back to killing each other after January. I tell you what, Boomer, you're absolutely correct. I believe Hamas is hiding elsewhere and regrouping. And of special note, I also want to bring up this point. Where is Hezbollah? Where is Al-Qaeda? Where is ISIS? ISIS is, the Islamic State? Where are these terror groups that promised if Israel attacked and started killing Hamas terrorists down in Gaza, that they would invade, that they would attack, that they'd launch missiles, that they would all get in there? Where are they? Where is ISIS? Where is Al-Qaeda? Where are the Syrian Electronic Army? Where are Hezbollah? Where are these people, folks? Where is Gaza? Where is Hamas? Where are these people that are supposed to invade and just come down? Where's Turkey? Turkey was talking a bunch of shit. Where is Syria? Syria was talking a bunch of shit. Where is Iran? They were talking a bunch of shit about Israel. Where are they? Don't tell me they're trying to make it a fair fight. We got a dangerous, dangerous world out there, folks. We got 535 people live. I want to thank everyone out there, bam, for hitting the Prepared Mind channel tonight on Sunday Night Live. Please do me a favor, share that internet address right up there with other people, friends and family. They need to wake the hell up. Also, hit the thumbs up if you haven't done it already. Now, Mr. Uman, where are we at here? What do we got rolling? What is happening? Aha, it is my turn. Here we go, folks. Get this. Iranian-backed Houthis. That's right, the Houthis, folks. Not Houthi and the Blowfish, but rather, that whole other area of the world on the other side of Africa. You got Somalia and Yemen. You got the Houthis. Anyways, the Iranians have backed the Houthis, and they have hijacked a giant tanker. And this tanking ship, right? This giant oil, I think it's an oil rig. I'm sorry, an oil barge, is linked to Israel. It's associated with Israel. So they've hijacked it. In other words, we've got piracy. All ships, folks, need armed experts now. We're going to have more hostages. I think I'm going to take a look into that. Personally, I think I'm going to take a look into the need for piracy protection on tanker ships, cargo ships, and even cruise ships. It's not a paradise out there, folks. When a bunch of Houthis can hijack a giant tanker. I remember a few years ago when the Somali pirates started their shit. That's what I have as the thumbnail for the video. Right, a bunch of, you could call them mercenaries, or you could call them private security firms. They would put these private guys on the ships, and if anyone approached their boat, right, they'd light them up with small arms fire, miniguns, heavy machine gun, and makes sense to me. They've also used drones. I don't know what they use the drones for. I'd never really looked into it at that point. But it looks like that's going to happen now. We have Iran getting really loud, and they want to take the Suez Canal as their own. We should and are likely to see a huge increase in the cost of oil. And for some reason, oil's not going through the roof, is it? This is why when people go, well, invest in things that you know. Right? I'm like, I don't know what to think anymore of this world. These people are nuts. Anyways, invest in oil. Yeah, one tank at a time. That's for sure. Make sure your truck is full of diesel or gasoline, whatever it takes. I never let mine go below halfway. I never let my tank go below halfway, folks. You just never freaking know. Anyways, I think I'm going to look. In fact, heads up, this coming week, I'm going to be talking literally to staff in a shipping company. So I'll find out what exactly their attitude is with respect to piracy and the lunacy that surrounds that in international waters. Uman will be taking care of you all week, so will Jolene. So my absence is not because I've been arrested. My absence is not because I have quit. This week, my absence will be because I will be doing some personal protection work and then some business talk about what is coming up with the need for protection. Folks, I tell you, the economy's gone to shit. Things have become very difficult for a lot of people. Me, yours truly included. So, that said, let's move on if we shall. Look out for the world of piracy, folks. It is crazy. And we've got Mr. Skylight checking in. Thank you, sir. And he says, hey, quote, in the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And that was Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights activist of the 60s, who said, what was his technique? Nonviolent civil disobedience. What do we have today? Violent civil disobedience. Terrorism. To get people's political wills met. But Martin Luther King Jr. was into nonviolent civil disobedience. So, he says, in the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Think about that and what it means to you. I can't tell you what words mean to you, folks. I can just tell you what they mean to me. Just a little moment of peace there. Anyways, it is a great quote. It truly is. Thank you, Mr. Skylight, again for your great support over the years now. Literally over the years. Unbelievable. Okay, Sunday Night Live. I need a drink. That's what I need. Well, I could use one of those scotches too, but here we go. Rooster Cogburn checks in with a $5 super chat donation. Once again, you hit a super chat donation and make sure that I've got what? Spam and tuna fish in the pantry, stacked up. And I do rotate my stock. I do my very best. And Rooster says, John, I let my food stash go too long without rotating it. Any suggestions on long-lasting, high-protein foods? Yes. My recommendation, Rooster, is you go to thepreparedmind.club. Preparedmind.club. We have lots of links to different foods. I recommend, of course, meat. Right? We used to have a great line on Survival Chow. It was ground beef, steak, pork, chicken, turkey in cans. And that was good for 5 to 7 years. But if you get the freeze-dried, or rather dehydrated foods, they last quite a bit longer. And again, my recommendation is to always have canned meat, whether it's dehydrated or not. But you definitely need to rotate your stock and eat it. Right? You can use it all the time. Like I said, I eat my tuna fish. I got tuna fish from 3 years ago. And it's good. Not a problem one. But I got to rotate it. Have to stay in it. And I want to thank you guys for helping me do that. For always supplying me with new and keeping me going. What do I say? This is what we need, folks. Rice lasts for years and years and years and years, no problem. But again, go to the preparedmind.club and you can find. We don't sell anything. We just have a link that takes you to where it is. I love the Thrive Foods, and I've bought August and Farms, and I bought from a lot of different places to see how it works out. They're all about the same. Some are better priced, some are not. A lot of people have their preferences. My preference is, number one, to have food. Number two, to have lots of meat with it. Number three, make sure you have spices. Spices are critical. Now, vegetables have protein. Rice has protein. Wheat has protein. But we, as omnivores, humans, we need animal protein. All proteins are not the same. Protein is not the same in an animal as it is coming from vegetables or grains or legumes, beans. Right? It's not all the same. So suggestions on long-lasting, high-protein foods, go to thepreparedmind.club again and look up what we've got there. All the prepper items. But Thrive Foods were the best tasting, highest quality, most, shall we say, nourishing and satisfying. Now, when I was at the RMZ, there was a time, right, when I had a very limited diet. I was living out of a backpack while waiting for a shipping container to come in with what I had sent there. It was tough eating similar foods all the time. You need variety. And that's another suggestion I'm going to make. Yes, high quality, high protein meat, but have variety. Have variety. Thank you very much, Mr. Uman. And Uman is the man. Thank you, sir, for all you do for me and for everybody on the channel. Uman in here just busting his ass all the time, folks. And for some people, all they offer him is grief and horse shit. But he does work his ass off more than anyone can understand, unless you know him personally. Hardworking man. Thank you, Uman, again. But protein, meat, lots of variety. Make sure you have spices. Have Southern spices, have European spices, have Far East spices, Chinese spices, all kinds of spices to give everything you eat a different flavor. You will get bored eating the same damn thing every single day. Period. Oh my gosh. All right. Uman, sending you a little message there. Now, let's get into some real nasty shit that I read about. But no, wait. Uman is saying we've got another super chat donation. I'm going to put my stuff on hold and give you guys priority. It is Misty Cook. Those 10 steps with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Misty Cook. She says, if the economy finally crashes, will gold and silver, junk silver, explode? If so, will it be instantly or take a few weeks and keep exponentially growing? All right, I think we've got the good gold and silver crowd in here today. Here is my opinion. Now, again, this is not financial advice. It's not investing advice. It is perspective. I have heard it both ways, that gold is going to break out and then silver will go out past it and go faster and further. I have heard that silver leads, then gold goes. It doesn't matter which one starts first, whether gold starts going up or whether silver starts going up first. It doesn't matter. Now, gold is still and is actually now new and improved now that it's no, I mean, get this. Imagine having $1 billion of gold in your bank and the international banking cartel says it's only worth 500 million. Well, it is now 100% usable as an asset, a reserve asset. So gold is now tier 1. Okay. Gold is money. Silver is money, industrial, and also strategic metal. They're pushing it. Now, you wrote the word if the economy crashes. Misty, the economy crashed back in September of 2019. The overnight repo banking system failed. The Federal Reserve and the Treasury started coordinating, working together to buy up their own debt, to finance banks and their overnight, shall we say, shortcomings. They're floating money to everyone and everything to keep the system going. Gold is going to explode in value. Silver, whether it's junk silver or, how do I put this? Sovereign coins or blanks are going to I believe they're all going to explode in value. Now, how quickly is going to be of some concern, right? The economy crashes, Misty, and gold and silver take off. if our entire social, economic, and shall we say food supply system, if we go Mad Max, the value of gold and silver is going to be nil. Because people will be too worried about getting food in their mouth. They're going to be too worried about water, protection, medicine. I'm not saying it'll be worthless. It'll just be something that no one wants to deal with for a while. But if we just have the economic downturn that is guaranteed to come, it doesn't even have to be a crash. I've kind of gotten past using the word crash, because the only way I think we're going to get a crash is if the banking cartels allow a crash. They're trying to bring this thing in as slowly as they can and bring it down and land that pile of shit plane on the ground. Give it a little skidding landing. We're coming down economically. Gold and silver is going to explode. I want to take you back to the 1970s. We had years and years of trouble with the banking system, the monetary system in the early 70s, right? 71, President Nixon took us off the gold standard. And we just had a shit show for years and years and years, from 71 all the way through the late 70s. It was just shit for economy, shit for the monetary system. And then Paul Volcker at the Federal Reserve started to raise interest rates. Well, we have had a shit economy. Now, they've been pumping a bunch of cash in, which they didn't do in the 70s, the government pumping cash in. We've had a shit economy. We've had a shitty financial system. We've had a shitty monetary system about as long as we had in the 70s. You could say it started back in 2015, 2016, 2017. Pick a time, right? I said September of 2019 for the big banking failure, if you don't want to call it a crash. So you had 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, right? We've got years and years. It didn't just happen last week. So what I'm saying is, in the 1970s, it went through the 70s, gold, and then it got to the end of the 70s, and it went straight up from $35 an ounce, where it started, all the way to $850 an ounce. Huge. So here we are, 2015, 2016, 2017, right? 2018, gold went up to 2,000, but we've been going sideways for years and years. But now, like the 70s, where we went all the way across, and then they started raising the interest rates, and gold went through the roof. Silver went from, well, a silver dollar to a silver $50, right? $50 an ounce. It went exponentially, straight up. Gold and silver, straight up, straight up. Now we have something similar happening. We've got economic trouble, financial trouble, monetary trouble, and chairman of the Federal Reserve, Chief Goon Powell, Jerome Powell, he's come along with low interest rates, 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 and now his interest rates are going straight up. Straight up. Straight up. When that happened in the early 80s, the end of the 70s and the early 80s, they took the interest rate straight up. Gold went up and followed it. Same with silver. I think we're about to see the same thing. They have taken the interest rates and gone straight up with it. And now nations are buying gold like they've never bought before. Wealthy people are buying gold like they've never bought before. Right? Miles Franklin, that's Andy Schekman's a company. He's sold incredible amounts of gold and silver. He's reported to people who are buying millions of dollars at a time. Right? These are just regular wealthy families, not super billionaires. So I find it fascinating. It is going to explode, in my opinion. Exactly when? I don't know. Exactly how fast does it go straight up? I don't know. But on gold and silver, we've got an incredible cup and handle long term that has been set up. Gold right now is sitting, it has a triple top. It has gone up 1, 2, 3 times to its all-time high, and it's just sitting right underneath that. We're at the end of the year here. We've got economic problems that have persisted. We had a banking failure again a couple of weeks ago. I don't know what's going to happen, folks, but I can tell you this. Unless you're protected for any of these things, you're not protected. Now, of course, the first thing that comes are the Maslowian needs, right? Bottom layer, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. If you have any money, anything, currency, any wealth, you may want to consider gold and silver as a way to take it out of the banks so the banks can't confiscate it, right? Take it out of the system. A lot of people are like, well, do I buy gold stocks? I can't do financial investment. Gold miners, gold stocks. What do you really own? A piece of paper. So there's some risk there. If you buy gold or buy silver, you're going to pay a premium. The premium on gold is lower than the premium on silver percentage-wise. What that means is if you buy silver, say you buy silver for $25 an ounce, you're going to pay like $2.50 an ounce in a premium, like a 10% premium. The premium's gone up as high as 50% in the last couple of years. Crazy. That's right. You buy 1 ounce and you pay for an ounce and a half. It's because the trading price that everything's valued on is bullshit. And then availability has something to do with it as well. Now, gold, on the other hand, has a lower premium. Now, again, if things explode and they exponentially go up in value, gold went up quite a bit. Let me give you an idea of how quickly it went up. Gold went up approximately 20 times in value from 1971 to its high. You could say 25 times. Silver went from $1 up to $50. So gold went up incredibly high and silver went up twice as much. Just using some round numbers and round percentages. Right? So is that an investment or is that the system correcting itself? You see, that's, I think, the important thing is it's not that gold is going to go up in value or silver is going to go up in value or uranium is going to go up in value or copper is going to go up in value. It's just right now they are incredibly undervalued. They're underappreciated. Right? Silver is becoming more rare, more difficult to get, harder to get. Right? The number of ounces of silver per ton of ore has gone down. Same with gold. So it's more expensive. It's crazy, folks. It is. Anyways, Misty Cook, you and the other person got me I can't remember that name. Anyways, you guys got me talking about precious metals, and they are an indicator of how, shall we say, screwed up our financial system is, how screwed up our monetary system is, and how screwed up our economy is. Things of real value. Gold is money, period. Period. Silver is industrial and strategic and rare, and it cannot be replaced by any other metal, period. It's also a technological and battery metal. It's crazy. Silver is crazy. I really wish I had money to invest in silver and gold. It would be great. But it's an investment in yourself to protect it because they've screwed up the system. I mean, it really is. Amazon stock, is that really an investment? You know, there's so many things out there that are overpriced. Netflix, really? Apple? Come on. It's a computer. They haven't done anything new or great in a while. Anyways, I don't want to put those things down as investments because they paid people really well. But what is really of value? Copper. That's important. Lead, zinc, iron, nickel, uranium. Incredibly important. Incredibly important. Anyways, thank you very much, Misty. I appreciate it. Mr. Ooman, where do we want to go next? We're closing in, folks, on an hour and a half, and holy cow, it is Cottage Farm with a $50 super chat pow donation. And in your honor, I'm going to pull that little guy out right there. And it's looking mighty close here. Boy. Cottage Farm, I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. You know what? You are going to finish off that bottle. We're going to call that. We're going to call that a shot and a half. I don't know if I can get all this down in one shot here. Anyways, thank you, Cottage Farm. Whoa, boy. This is for medicinal purposes, folks. And that right there is how it's done. Cottage Farm, thank you very much. And she says, I am thankful for people with strength and stamina. And she's pointing to Yankee Watchdog. Thank you. I don't know what that's all about, but I can tell you what, folks, Cottage Farm is one heck of a nice person. I spent quite a bit of time talking with her personally. Just a good person. And I've talked to a lot of people on here. I was doing the prepping coach, and I got to talk to a lot of people about how they're planning on prepping, the people they're associated with, where they live in the country, what their plans are, how they're going to deal with it. And it's incredibly important to keep talking, to make good friends, to find out who is American and who isn't, who you can trust and who you can't. As Cottage Farm points to, strength and stamina. Who is strong and who is going to stay, who is going to stand with you through it all. I really wish that I could clone myself and put one of me in every state. It'd be fun, and I guess we all kind of want that stuff, to have good people around us, wishing there were more of us that could stand up. And that's why I ask you guys all the time, please, your voice matters. Your opinion matters. Speaking loudly to those people in charge and telling them authoritatively to do their jobs, right? Perform as they took an oath. Anyways, I too am thankful, Cottage Farm, for you and for everyone who have been supportive of this channel. And it has given me the strength to keep coming back and doing this show year after year. I believe December 13th will be the end of my 10 years, my true 10-year anniversary, having done and completed 10 full years right here on the Prepared Mind channel. Can you believe that, folks? 10 years we've been saying, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And back in 2020, March, I said, that's it. It hit the fan with Cerveza bug, and it did. And we've been fighting for our country ever since then. Now, Cottage Farm, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And we're down to the Glenfiddich. Woo! Making me sweat a little bit there. Get this, folks. I want to give you some good news. I don't want to be Mr. Bad News John. I'm going to give you some good news. There appears to be a worldwide trend. We've heard about that dude down in Argentina, the chainsaw president, right? We've heard about, pick another country. Oh, yeah, we've heard about Geert Wilders, right? In the Netherlands saying, we've had it with your shit. We've got the Italian prime minister. We've got the Germans are fighting amongst themselves to get real conservative, freedom-minded leadership. Well, New Zealand, folks. New Zealand has a conservative prime minister. His name is Christopher Luxon. And guess what? He is vowing to cut taxes. He is going to get rid of gun restrictions in New Zealand. He's going to roll them back at least. And he wants to cancel the oil and gas exploration ban. This is a trend, folks. Down in Argentina, they're bringing in a conservative. A country that has been socialist off and on for years and years has now got a conservative in there. In France, they have Marine Le Pen, who's been fighting for the last decade. In England, they had the one fellow, what was his name? Someone come up with his name. But he basically got England out of the European Union. He's just done with it, out. I can't remember his name for some reason. There's so many of these people out here fighting. You got Viktor Orban in Hungary saying no illegal immigrants, none of these ridiculous third world garbage people coming to our country. People are fighting back. Now, it's important to note that the rich folks, the rich, the wealthy, the super wealthy, the Bilderberg types, the World Economic Forum globalists, they are looking at all this voting that's going on of putting conservatives, pro-freedom of speech, pro-Second Amendment type, gun. This is gun. Folks, this is not a United States state. This is New Zealand. Not New Mexico, New Zealand. Saying we're gonna get rid of this gun restriction crap. All this voting, all this democracy is destroying democracy. Because the democracy we keep hearing about from the globalists is one where you have no rights, right? They're going to start telling us, folks, that democracy is being destroyed in places like Argentina, Italy, and New Zealand, and Germany and Hungary. They're saying that, yeah, voting is evil. We need to get rid of this voting. People aren't smart enough to know what they need to vote. There's so much disinformation and misinformation, right? They keep telling us that. I'm like, what do you mean? They're trying to report something and you're telling us it's misinformation? It's crazy. Now, while that's great news for New Zealand needs to understand, because they have a parliamentary system, not like our system where we elect a president separate from the legislature. In a parliamentary system, they have a prime minister, right? They're all ministers of parliament, MPs. But then they have a prime minister, their number one guy. Anyways, in the Netherlands, the Dutch elected Geert Wilders, right? Well, the Dutch version of rhinos, right? The Dutch rhinos, the Republicans in name only, the fake conservatives over in the Netherlands are basically saying, we're not going to do what you want to do. We're not going to create a government under Geert Wilders. We're not going to have a legislature that works. It's incredible. It's funny how selling out is an international pastime of elected scumbags. I say get used to more of this. Down in Argentina, you think they're going to be happy with that guy? No, they'll fight him tooth and nail. Same with Geert Wilders. And then over in New Zealand, it's going to be the same story, but we're fighting back. Keep fighting back. Be strong. And as Cottage Farm said, we need stamina. We need to keep fighting these people. Now, it's amazing how in Hungary, Viktor Orban has been called, I think a neo-Nazi, a white supremacist. They've called him, Russian outlaw. They've called him all kinds of names, but he's stood strong for his country. But isn't it interesting how all of these officials, elected officials, sell out their country? Kind of like Ireland. They've sold out their country and their parliament. They have rules there that allow people to come in and crap all over their country, ruin it. Well, it's important, folks. Oh, Geert Wilders, by the way, let his rhinos know. He says, if you play games with the people's will, it will only make us much, much bigger. Much like Trump, Geert Wilders is a firebrand. He's a lightning rod for attention. They, of course, call him a Nazi and they call him a white supremacist and, all manner of every name they can. They want to put people in jail. In fact, speaking of that, this was incredible when I heard this today. Do any of you know who Tommy Robinson is? Well, you should. He's kind of like England's Tucker Carlson. He's like a combination between Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones. Remember when Alex Jones used to have a radio talk show? Remember when Alex Jones had an internet talk show? That's right. He was exercising free speech, saying what he thought was right. And he was a radical, crazy dude. And he'd make wild, fantastic claims. And then after a decade or so, it turned out he was right. But there is a new world order that they are trying to take over, no matter what name they use. Well, it's the deep state. And we all know that the deep state are the good guys, right? Remember this jackass?
They want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, the laws of this country and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the president. The deep state.
Deep state are our friends. They're a cadre of people. What is their oath? Their oath is to defend and protect the country, right? The Constitution. Are they doing that at the southern border? Is the deep state good at the southern border? Is the deep state working really hard in the Pentagon? Is the deep state fixing our monetary system? Is the deep state affecting our energy? Oh, the deep state does such a great job. No, they don't. Anyways, Tommy Robinson, kind of the, the deep state. Hillary Clinton saying, well, there's limits to free speech. And misinformation and disinformation need to be crimes. Well, Tommy Robinson has been a vocal opponent of what is being done to England. I call him England's Tucker Carlson. Right. Today he was pepper sprayed, and today Tommy Robinson was arrested. What is his crime this time? And he has been thrown in jail as well. He's been thrown in jail as well. Well, his crime, he was marching against Hamas. He was not throwing firebombs. He wasn't beating people up. He wasn't calling for an insurrection. He wasn't cheating in the voting booth. No, he was marching against Hamas, basically saying, right, killing people is wrong. And by the way, Hamas hates England as much as they hate the United States of America. Now, you can't march against Hamas. You'll get pepper sprayed and arrested. But Hamas can threaten every country in the world. They can threaten terror attacks all day long. No arrests. What I still cannot wrap my head around is, okay, I can understand Parliament selling out. I can understand Congress selling us out. And they get millions of dollars for putting us over, right? But police, what do they get for following these rules these assholes set up? They get a measly paycheck for arresting protesters. They're willing to screw us over for a can of pork and beans, essentially. Isn't that incredible? Americans at all levels are willing to sell out and screw over other Americans. Same with the English. They're willing to screw their entire country over and sell out everybody at their parliamentary level, all the way down to the cops, right? The Peters on the street. It's unbelievable to me, folks, how easily and how cheaply people can be bought. Once again, strength and stamina. I really like those concepts. I'm glad you brought that up. That makes me feel really damn good. Folks, we've had a great show so far. If you've got something to say, hit that super chat button. Get your thoughts over here on the screen, and I'll make you famous. We'll talk about what you want to talk about, what's important to you. As we roll through this holiday season, the end of 2023, as we're going to come through it, folks, and we're going to get into 2024, which is going to be one hell of a shit show. Oh, believe it. Believe it, folks. It is going to happen big time. The craziness politically over Trump is going to make people's head spin. It is going to make people's head spins. And the violence, folks, the violence is crazy. But let's look at American politics a little bit. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard about the Republican named Santos. He is a congressional representative, and he's a Republican. And they want to throw him out of Congress, folks. They want to expel him because he's lied, he's been full of shit, he's misrepresented himself. And it's like, well, isn't that what every congressman seems to do? Seriously. I mean, I'm not just being a smart ass and satirical. Isn't that what every one of these congressmen does that we at least accuse in our minds them of doing? They're selling us out. They're lying their asses off all the time. They misrepresent themselves. They misrepresent us. They take money from lobbyists. They screw us over. They take all of our tax money and give us very little in return, if anything at all. Now, so Representative Santos, He's a little worm. For some reason, he is not beloved. So he burns down all of Congress. And I think this piece of shit is the most honest congressman we have because he's being honest. Let me read to you what his quote was before he, folks, gets thrown out of Congress. Here is his quote. I have colleagues who are more worried about getting drunk every night with the next lobbyist that they're gonna screw and pretend like none of us know what's going on and sell off the American people, not show up to vote because they're too hungover or whatever the reason is, or not show up to vote at all and just give their card out like fucking candy for someone else to vote for them. That is a direct quote from a representative. It's a direct quote. He sees and knows what these people are doing. What's he saying? He says, instead of worrying about us, America, what these assholes in Congress are worried about is who they get to have a bunch of drinks with and then screw, literally. In other words, the lobbyists are sending sex toys to them, folks. Prostitutes. For the men and the women. They're worried about getting drunk and who they get to fuck next. And then they're pretending like none of us know what's going on. Do you remember Representative Madison Cawthorn, Republican, North Carolina? Veteran. He threatened to expose all of the orgies and the drugs being taken in Washington, D.C. And what did Kevin McCarthy, Republican, former Speaker of the House, do? He made sure and he threatened Madison Cawthorn. He threatened him to be silent. He probably let him know that he'd kill him. You know, Arkansas. And then he primaried him and got Madison Cawthorn beaten in the primary election for the Republican seat. So now we have another guy, Santos. He comes out and says, I have colleagues who are more worried about getting drunk every night with the next lobbyist that they're going to screw and pretend like none of us know what's going on and sell off the American people. That's you and me. And not show up to vote because they're too hungover or whatever their reason is, or not show up to vote at all and just give their card out like fucking candy for someone else to vote for them. What is this? Not show up. Not show up to Congress. Not show up to work. They get drunk at night. They're screwing their prostitutes, screwing each other, and then they're too drunk, too hungover to get up in the morning unless they drag their asses in there, right, and do nothing. All of their aides, their office workers are the ones doing it, folks. They're doing all the work. These Congress people are engaging in their drunk, drugged up orgy festivals every night. And we wonder, how are they being controlled? How could they be controlled? Well, this is how they're controlled. And as far as voting, they have a vote card, folks. They put the card in the machine and push a button, yes or no. They don't even give a shit what they're voting for, unless it's really important, and then they know. Otherwise, they couldn't give a shit. They literally couldn't give a shit. And I'm going to be totally facetious here and say, I am shocked and saddened at the news coming from Mr. Santos of our Congress being drunk sacks of shit and for their fornication with money-bribing prostitutes. Fuck. Yeah, it's what we all suspected. Just like George Santos said, right? Right? And they pretend like none of us know what's going on. Washington, D.C., folks, is a giant pit of filth full of LGBTQIA plus crap and other perversions. Talk about the whore of Babylon. Good God. I find it refreshing, folks, that one congressman, albeit a scumbag that he is, Santos, he has the courage to out all of the other pious, hypocritical, lying sacks of shit. Congress, folks, in Washington, D.C., is populated by whores. Whores. And they're selling us all out. Unbelievable. All right. I just had to share that with you. I know that's crazy news, folks. But yeah, Representative Santos, epic rant. Facts, folks, facts. Let's do this. Mr. Uman, we have Boomer21 with another Canadian $10 super chat donation. And he says, Trump really has to watch it. If they can't break him through the courts, they'll literally try to take him out. Oh, I tell you, Boomer, especially with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the son of the former Attorney General and nephew of the former President Kennedy, both of whom were assassinated. He is in the presidential hunt, if you will. It may even go third party, but he's well aware of assassination. And so is Trump. So is Trump. I can't believe for a split second that he isn't aware of it. And I agree with you. He has to watch it. Now, I'll tell you right now, who killed President John F. Kennedy? It was the Secret Service. It was the CIA. Dallas PD was involved. So was the mafia, the Italian mafia. And they were being assisted by both mercenaries from America as well as Cuban exiles who were pissed off that the Bay of Pigs was a failure and that Kennedy was pulling out of there. But I named one group, the Secret Service. They're responsible for the president's security. You can go watch the films, folks. Watch the films. You can see the Secret Service pull men off the back of the car. They changed their formation, the way they flank and protected the president. The president's car slowed down after he was shot through the neck. The car actually came to a complete stop where Kennedy was given his final fatal headshot. And then the driver sped off. You watch the Zapruder film, it has been doctored. It has been proven to be doctored. There's incredible inconsistencies in the footage, and film experts have made that determination. They used the Zapruder film, folks, to show us what happened on that day and to also be a massive form of disinformation and misinformation about what truly happened that day. Do you know how many people died, were killed for witnessing Kennedy's assassination there at Daley Plaza in Texas? Dozens of people were killed for what they saw because they could testify to others. They could tell their stories. A bunch of people died, folks. Trump really has to watch it. I mean, look at Seth Rich, who was working for Hillary, wasn't it? Yeah, he didn't like what he was seeing, and hey, he died. A lot of people died, folks, and continue to die. It's something that's quite interesting. Thank you, Boomer. I want to tell you about this, folks. Gavin Newsom is not going to die or be killed. Gavin Newsom is a complete, total pile of shit sellout. He is the governor of California. He actually tried telling the public this incredible lie. And he suggested that inflation that we're all suffering under isn't there. There's no inflation. Since Joe Biden took office, there's no inflation. It's all a conservative lie. That is how stupid the Democrats think all of us are. Now, some of us may be more interested in monetary policy. Some of us may be more interested in the finance. Some of us may be more interested in energy. I'm interested in all of America and all of our freedom. But a lot of people are very focused on certain areas. So we're all paying attention to one degree or another. People like Gavin Newsom think that we're all stupid and that we don't catch it and that we'll believe their shit. But understand this, when Gavin Newsom lies, the Democrats all repeat it. Whether or not they know it to be true or not, they repeat the lie. This is what socialists do. They want everyone to vote. Do you think all the Democrats really believe Joe Biden got 91 million votes in 2020? That Trump was so hated that people went out to vote against him in record numbers? Not true. In fact, if you look back and you were to go back, you would read and see in the both the written reports and the television / internet media that Democrat voters were depressed. They were depressed during the 2020 campaign. They were disinterested. They were disheartened. They were down. They weren't interested in supporting Biden. They didn't give a shit. He is non-charismatic. He was, in fact, insulting. But somehow that got flipped on its head and he got 91 million votes. So Gavin Newsom, folks, he can lie all he wants. And he is going to try and run for the president in 2024. I think that's their one guy that they think is young enough and handsome enough and charismatic enough. But he is a lying sack of shit. And he wants you to believe that there is no inflation and that it's all a lie. My suggestion is you speak up now to Congress and you speak up now to everybody you know. Right? And start campaigning, folks. Start campaigning. This is our world. This is our country. These are our lives, folks. We have to stick up for ourselves. Nobody else is going to do it for us. Okay. What a day, folks. What a great Thanksgiving weekend. I tell you what, I want to know what you have to say. Mr. Uman, we have a super chat donation, and there it is. It is Bernard Shreve Jr. checking in with a $10 super chat donation. And he says, it's about to get real SHTF here. The goal of China is to take over the U.S. with the border and use the savages in the East to place the U.S. under Sharia law. Still alive and ready, John. I'll tell you what, Bernard Shreve Jr., I'm glad you're there. Pow. I believe you're absolutely right. Now, I think I can elaborate on your thoughts here. The destruction of the United States of America, both our country and our economy, is the goal of both the World Economic Forum and China. I do not believe, however, that China is on the same side as the World Economic Forum. I believe that China is adversarial. China being the East, Europe, the World Economic Forum being the West, and America, or the Americas, is Oceania. Okay, we're the third leg. We're the strongest one economically, militarily. So China can't win if we're here. And Europe can't win if we're here and in charge. In charge, or rather, at the top of the heap. So they both need us destroyed. So China is more than willing to assist the World Economic Forum in destroying our country. The World Economic Forum is doing it through the destruction of our social system. Of course, they're overseeing the infiltration of us by third world scumbags who are migrating here. And they're destroying us politically by just destroying our law, our government, our bureaucracies, etc. Now, China, on the other hand, is doing the same thing, or rather similar things. They have invested in America heavily over the past 20 years, and they've been paid handsomely for it. And now they're divesting themselves of U.S. treasuries. Same with Russia, but China is the big one. China wants to destroy America, folks. So they too are bribing politicians like Joe Biden. Yoo-hoo, it's there. Hunter Biden, it's there. Joe Biden's family, or it's a huge crime syndicate. And then it's not just the Bidens, folks. You got Eric Swallowswell, Democrat representative out of California, who's on the Intelligence Committee in Congress, yet it's okay that he slept with a Chinese spy. He's banging Fang Fang, right? This Chinese prostitute spy that they sent in. How many other congressmen are doing the same thing? How many more senators and congressmen? Like, let's see, I believe, Senator Mitch McConnell, minority leader, Republican in the Senate, is married to a Chinese woman. Now, I don't have anything against his whole interracial jungle fever he's got going there, but she is a Chinese national, and he's got himself more than hip deep in Chinese investments and the success of China. So you've got China on this side, folks, and you've got Europe on the other side, and they're just tearing America to pieces. And wouldn't they just love to see all these ridiculous, retarded Muslims bring their Sharia law in and try subjecting us to it? This is where they will fail. They may corrupt Congress to the nth degree. They may destroy so much of America's systems. But folks, if they have AK-47s and RPGs throughout the Middle East, throughout Africa, throughout third world shitholes that they use to fight each other, how much more powerful are Americans who have for decades stockpiled their own rifles, their own handguns, their own shotguns, and their own ammunition stockpiles so that they can defend themselves and their country? These Sharia-loving idiots will not make it very long if they make that their goal overtly. I am not recommending anyone do anything dangerous, violent, deadly, illegal, harmful, none of that stuff. I'm not glamorizing any of this shit. It is going to be a nightmare of a system, depending on what gets destroyed the most. Again, you need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. In the realm of wealth preservation, owning real estate is a good thing to have. And in SHTF, possession is going to be 9/10 of the law. In other words, you own the dirt, it's yours. Gold and silver is going to be extremely valuable in terms of currency. It'll have value of currency. It can be used as currency, and it can be held in reserve against currency. Whatever currency is coming up in the future, next year or 10 years from now. And I do expect it to take off, folks, exponentially through 2024. The worse shit gets and the more they raise the interest rates, it's basically put on your seatbelt and watch, folks. Get your popcorn, get your bottle of scotch, your margaritas, your beer, whatever you got, get it out. It's going to get nasty. Now, as far as, let me address the Sharia law crap here with you a little bit more. Thank you, Bernard Shreve Jr. In New York City, folks, remember how New York City, like San Francisco and all these other left-wing liberal scumbag cities, they're sanctuary cities. And they thought all of this illegal immigration was great and fucking dandy and everyone was happy. Bullshit. New York City has been just smothered with it. And then prior to that, we had BLM in there saying, defund the police. All cops are bastards. Well, New York City, folks, they've lost 2,500 police officers this year. Now, how many have been hired? I don't have that number. But what I do know is that the police department of New York City is understaffed. And as a consequence, they're overworked. They're undertrained and they're underexperienced across the board. And they are ill-equipped for terror. Now, I know most of New Yorkers are a bunch of liberal creeps, but there are a lot of good conservative people there, and I don't know why, unless they're just stuck there. But they need to hang on. They need to be strong and hang on. They're screwed. The rest of New York State, upstate, they need to find Governor Hochul and make sure she gets whatever medicine she needs in the form of intelligence. Folks, this is crazy. New York City, the Bronx, Harlem, Queens. In Queens, folks, high school students decided to have a riot when they discovered that one of their teachers attended a pro-Israel rally. This radicalized, wacko, pro-terrorist mob of students forced this teacher to hide. Now, I want to ask this question of you. And this is where you and I really need to sit back and take a look at the people around us. Do the students in this Queen's school and around the country, in grade school and high school, even in colleges, do these students realize that as Americans, they are going to be targets of terrorism, targets of Hamas, targets of the Palestinians, regardless of whether or not they supported them, regardless of whether you're brown or black? They're not going to give you any leeway if you're not Muslim. So no more banging hoes, no more twerking, no more rap music, no more of this ghetto shit. If it goes to Sharia law, it's over. Their culture, the black subculture, the Puerto Rican subculture, that's right, the Cuban subculture, the Mexican subculture, all of the subcultures in America are toast under Sharia law if terrorists take over. The Palestinians are racist against everybody. They hate everybody. But like an intelligent barbarian, I guess, they're going to let all of the people that want to fight for them, and they'll just kill them, stab them in the back later. Crazy business. These students don't realize that they're Americans and their freedoms and liberties, they're gone. I mean, do they really think that if these Palestinians take over, that things will be better for them as American students? They're idiots. They don't understand short-term or long-term consequences. And there is going to be short and long-term consequences. All right, we're closing in on 2 hours. 2 hours, you guys. And we've had over 500 people here. It's been great. I want to thank everybody. And make sure you've hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. We've got Heidi with a $10 super chat donation. And she says this. She reports hospitals are closing maternity wards, emergency rooms. They're stopping services. They're closing nursing home wards all across the nation. Many are not accepting Medicare Advantage plans anymore. Thoughts? I tell you what. I have some thoughts. I remember under Obama. Remember that jackass, Barack Hussein Barry Soetoro Obama? First black president of the United States. Crock of shit. He wasn't an American. Anyways, enough of that. Remember when he said, access to healthcare is a human right? He didn't say free healthcare. He said access to healthcare. Well, if there are no hospitals, how do you have access to any healthcare, regardless of color or income level? Well, first they tell us we have to pay for Obamacare and get Obamacare. Fuck everyone, right? Obamacare. Starting 2009, 2010, 2011. They've been screwing us over, making everyone buy that shit. Worthless, overpriced healthcare. Every year after the first year, it went up 30 to 45% year on year. And now, after 2020, after Cerveza-Bug, they're like, oh, no, you're not guaranteed to get into hospitals. In fact, if you don't have the Jim Jones juice jabbed inside you, you don't get to come in our hospital. We're going to deny your operations. It used to be that the healthcare industry gave a fuck. They said, we want you to come in. We're going to test you once a year, make sure all is good inside your body, your cholesterol's good, your blood pressure's good, everything's good, right? Your thyroid's good, everything needs to be good. Right? Preventative medicine. Wanted to make sure you stayed healthy. And then Cerveza-Bug. No more healthcare. F everybody. We're going to stop. We're going to close the hospitals down. We're going to send sick people into the nursing homes. Screw everyone's mental health. Let's lock them down. Sounds like the Soviet Union, does it not? Sounds like communist China. Well, yeah, China locked everyone down. They locked them in their homes and kept them there. So we should do the same everywhere in America and around the world. And they did, folks. They arrested old women on park benches. They arrested people on fucking beaches. They arrested people in parks, right? Just being in public in general. You can get thrown out of stores. You could only come out on certain days. You had to keep 6 feet between you and go down the aisles and follow the arrows. Yeah, that's not America, folks. Fight back. Step up for yourself. Don't be silent. Don't be silent. Be loud. Don't be weak. Be strong. Don't give up. Keep fighting. Stamina. Thank you again for that. That really makes me feel good. Very good, Cottage Farm. Very good. It was good to see all of you here tonight. We're at the 2-hour mark, and we're closing the show with over 430 people live. We are well over 500, and folks, that'll be thousands and thousands of people. Thousands and thousands of people have watched the show already. I want to thank you for supporting this channel, for supporting freedom, for supporting America. God bless you. Semper Fi means always faithful, and chance favors the prepared mind. Go to thepreparedmind.club for food, high-protein food. Go to thepreparedmind.club for links to gold, silver, solar panels, weapons, everything you need to get through the shitstorm that's coming. And I'll tell you what, there is one hell of a shitstorm coming. I'll see you soon.
Can you read me?